not sure if you're streaming it. Oh, yeah, we are. So, we are about to talk about the media gaslighting us on the national emergency. We'll see how you like it. Oh, shoot.
Yes, Jim Acosta.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if you could comment on this disconnect that we seem to have in this country where you are presenting information about what's happening at the border, calling it an invasion, talking about women with duct tape over their mouths and so on. And yet there's a lot of reporting out there. There's a lot of crime data out there. There's a lot of Department of Homeland Security data out there that shows border crossings at a near record low. That shows undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels. That shows undocumented criminals or undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels than native-born Americans. What do you say to
you don't really believe that stat? Do you really believe that stat? Take a look at our federal prisons.
I believe in facts and statistics and data.
Okay, more quick. Let's go.
Let me just ask you this. What do you say to your critics who say that you are creating a national emergency, that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons. Okay? Because your question is a very political question because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news. You have an agenda. The numbers that you gave are wrong. Take a look at our federal prison population. See how many of them, percentage-wise, are illegal aliens. Just see. Go ahead and see. It's a fake question.
Thank you, Mr. President. So good.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Good morning, guys. I am James Hake of the Hake Report, and I am on the Hake Report. No, not on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Isn't that nice? And I have some interesting news for you. I guess it's news, commentary about this national emergency that the media is gaslighting us on, such as Jim Acosta. Is so ridiculous. You can join in by calling 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773. And I have some good research, good facts for you to check out as well. And I'll get to those. And Jim Acosta is so deceiving and dumb and wrong and evil. And so is CNN and the rest of the media, period, and all of the RINOs and all of the Democrats and who else? The academics and everybody. They're totally lying to us. They're just gaslighting us. They're pretending that an emergency is not an emergency. And President Trump nailed it. They are fake news because they have an agenda. And this man, Jim Acosta, pretended like he cited this stat, and it's a total miscitation of this stat, that according to trustworthy researchers, that illegal aliens, he calls them undocumented immigrants, commit crime at lower rates than regular Americans, which is a total lie. And Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed a man named John Lott, Dr. John R. Lott of Crime Prevention Research Center, crimeresearch.org. And this man looked into the stats, and he found out that they're saying immigrants, both legal and illegal, in other words, they're lumping all the immigrants together, both the illegal aliens and the regular law-abiding immigrants, together into one thing. And so combined, they supposedly commit crime at a lower rate than citizens. But that's not actually like It's not talking about the illegal aliens by themselves. So he falsely stated, Mr. Facts, Mr. I believe in facts and we are real news, Mr. President, real news, Jim Acosta. Clown, like real Ghostface says, said that the illegal aliens are committing crime at a lower rate. It's not true. They're committing crime at much higher rates. And you look at the criminal alien population among, like, in federal prisons, Trump is right. The criminal alien, and that's both legal and illegal, mind you. And anchor babies, too. Anchor babies are not really counted as immigrants because they were born here, but they're, in my opinion, they should be considered foreigners, not Americans. And I was talking with a friend of mine, a guest, several weeks ago maybe, Anthony Solorzano. He came on my show. He's a friend of mine. He made this movie, and it's unrelated to immigration, kind of, although it's not. It's, in a sense, it wouldn't have happened without the immigration status that we have. The ridiculous amount of people pouring into the country, both legally and illegally. But this man, I asked him if he's an anchor baby, and he said, "What does that even mean?" He didn't know what it means because he's not a particularly political person, but he's a pawn for the political people. And he says that I'm as American as you are, and I said, "No, I don't think so, because anybody who votes Democrat, which my friend votes Democrat, is anti-American. Because Democrats are anti-American. They're anti-freedom, they're anti-morality, they're for everything that's destroying America, that's changing America from what it is to what it really, what they want it to be, which is just immoral and kind of like the fall of Rome type of stuff. All these immigrants coming in and wondering what is American even, and stuff like that. He even asked the question, what is American even, type of thing. And that's just propaganda. He doesn't realize that he's reciting propaganda. He thinks it's his own thoughts. But he said, I love America. And had I had my wits about me, I would have been like, wait, what do you love about America? Or what is the evidence that you love America? In what way do you love America? He's voting for Democrats, and he's not for the wall. He thinks it's archaic, which wheels are archaic, and all these things. But in reality, like, most people don't love America. They may feel emotional towards America, and they liked growing up here and stuff like that, and they feel, like I said, emotional. But that's not love for America. Love for America is like what Trump is doing, or what Jesse is doing, Jesse Peterson. Or, that's the only two examples that I can think of off the top of my head. President Trump loves America, and he loves everybody in America, including the illegals, love them enough that they have to go back. They just have to go back. It's not personal. It's nothing against them. It's not racism. Stupid. Before I get to some more clips about Jim Acosta, President Trump, if you're not caught up on the situation, declared a national emergency over the border security crisis at the border, at the southern border, that is, Mexico to America. And both Mexicans and Central Americans and South Americans maybe, and other foreigners too, are coming into America through that border. And ISIS could easily come in. They're coming in through Canada too, because we're just not security minded. And there's also a so-called humanitarian crisis. And it kind of is. It's killing Americans and it's killing the illegals. Hundreds of illegals every year are dying coming across the border because they're being deserted by their compatriots, if that's the right word for it, their fellow illegal alien crossers, the people that are leading the expeditions of illegals coming in, the coyotes. They're being deserted and they're dying. Like, people are drowning, people are dying of thirst or hunger. I think thirst more than hunger. Sunstroke, all kinds of crazy things are happening to illegals. Bodies are being found. And they don't care about that. The media doesn't care about that. If we had a wall, they wouldn't be crossing and dying because the wall would stop them, and then they wouldn't even bother. They wouldn't even try. So that's one example of the humanitarian crisis. And then, like, they're overrunning our systems which is so socialist, that's so communist, come to think of it, overrun the system, our social systems, our border whatever systems. We had to make a deal to get 16,400 beds. And even that they wanted to cap it at that, meaning there's more than that coming through the border. I mean, illegal aliens that we catch that turn themselves in. Many of them we don't catch. They don't turn themselves in, so we don't know the real numbers. But illegal aliens that we catch are getting into our systems, and we're overrun with it. We're so overrun that kids are dying, and they're blaming the border agents for the kids dying. A couple of kids have died, and they're making it out like we're the problem, when they're the problem. They're the ones for these people coming in illegally and making these crazy treks. The media, I covered this. The media did this just PR propaganda. They're the PR agent of the border, the migrant caravans. They act like they're women and children coming when it's mostly men coming. And like gang age men, by the way. Also like working age men, but we don't need more workers. We need people to work here. We need people here to start working. Get rid of the welfare, get rid of make it tougher to get unemployment, because people can easily find jobs here. If you can't find a job, you're aiming too high, let's say. But we also need to get rid of it would be nice to get rid of the minimum wage, which is it's raising the cost of living. If we get rid of minimum wage, the cost of living would go down too. I bet you. So anyways, he's freeing up $8 billion in funding for the border wall, President Trump is, by declaring a national emergency. And he knows, by the way, that the courts are going to try to stop him. The courts have way too much power because and it's wrong because they're activist judges. These are activist judges who are stopping President Trump from doing his job, which is to protect us from foreign invaders and from, domestic enemies who are also here. And the media and Democrats and RINOs are pretending that it's not an emergency, and it is. Just because it's been an ongoing military age man. Yeah, you're right. Hold on. Let me block this person. I can't block him. They're acting like it's not an emergency, but it is. It's like an ongoing, decades-old emergency. Jesse's been fighting this issue for at least 25 years, maybe 30, maybe all 30 years since he started Bond. But everybody remembers that Prop 187 rally where there was a white man whose head was bleeding, and this female Univision reporter says, "Are you all right?" He says, "Oh yeah, I've never been better." "Are you a racist?" It's a white man participating in a Prop 187 rally, and Prop 187 was a California bill denying social services, welfare specifically, I think, and other things maybe, to illegal aliens. And this white man, friend of Jesse's, was participating, and they threw a frozen Coke can and his head is bleeding. And the woman asked him if he's a racist. Meanwhile, the illegal aliens that threw the Coke can at the white man are not racist. They're fine. And then Jesse, as you saw, this is a 1996 video, very viral. You probably would have seen it. But Jesse called her out on that. Univision female reporter. And so he's been fighting this issue and it's been going on since before 1990 when Jesse started Bond, 29 years ago, by the way, this month. Happy anniversary to Bond. But it was happening. It was so bad that during the 80s, President Ronald Reagan gave an amnesty, stupid. And then we were supposed to have a wall and supposed to stop letting in illegals, but we kept on letting in illegals. And it was like 11 million for decades, or years anyways, and now all of a sudden it's more like 30 million, really, or at least minimum 20 million, but it's maybe 30, maybe even more million illegal aliens in the country, plus all the anchor babies. You have to think about how communities have transformed. We can't be listening to just statistics and stuff like Jesse says, they're children of the lie. They slant their statistics or manipulate the way that they present the statistics in order to trick you into not into thinking, oh, this is not such a problem. Meanwhile, you look before your eyes and whole communities have transformed. Like I grew up going to school in El Monte, California, and my parents also went to school in El Monte, California. And when my parents were going, it was mostly white, and then some Hispanics, because Hispanics had already been coming in. And some of them maybe were already here for decades or generations, who knows. But most of them were more and more came in. And also the Asians started coming in because of the 1965 Immigration Act. That's when, around the time that my parents graduated, it was the 65 area type of area. And since that time, it went from the fights being between the surfers and the beans, as my mother would say, to now it's like rival Mexican gangs fighting each other. And then sometimes these Chinese Asian gangs, watching and stuff, causing trouble and all kinds of stuff. And so now no longer surfers versus the beans. It is like Mexicans fighting one another. It's like Flores versus Hicks or Hayes or whatever. And so you can see community after community, even that man who everybody's trying to call racist, trying to act like he was defending white supremacy, something like stupid like that. The man who was pro-Western civilization, Steve King, Congressman Steve King out of Iowa. The high school that he graduated was majority white, maybe 100% white. And today it is majority Hispanic. They're acting like and that 1965 Immigration Act, I believe Ted Kennedy or somebody, Democrat, said that the demographics won't change. Yes, they did, and yes, they would, and they continue to. And whites have our problems too. Like, we're not having babies. So like, there's a moral crisis across the board among all races, and whites are surrendering our country, and it's not for the good of anybody, really. Yeah, I mean, some people come in and get spoiled, get ill-gotten gain. Some of them work, whatever. Most of them vote Democrat. And even most of the Republicans are total RINOs. They don't care about the country. They're just weak and pathetic. And it's a national emergency, for sure. And just because it's been going on forever, it's like a fat person. A fat person is a health emergency that they need to get better. Or a drunk, or whatever. But because they've been at it so long, and they don't feel like it's an emergency anymore, and they can get tricked into, oh, you can be healthy at any size and stupid stuff like that. They've been pretending for decades while communities have transformed from white or black American. There's a lot of black communities that have been transformed. Jesse talks about this all the time. From white or black American to brown people who are anti-white majority and as a majority and anti-black as a majority. It's so evil. And the media is gaslighting us. Oh, and by the way, we used to be mostly white, mostly moral, kind of, or at least trying to be moral, and we were free. We had freedom. Life was tougher back then, too, and it was a good kind of tough, I think. It forced you to basically like sink or swim. And now it's mostly POC, people of color, and they don't get along with one another either. Both among the blacks don't get along with each other. Blacks don't get along with Hispanics don't get along with Asians. They try to get along. They get along to a certain point, which as long as they're nice. But niceness is weakness, so we're becoming more and more immoral. And socialist, which is oppression. Socialism is oppression. Before I get to some more clips with Jim Acosta, ridiculous person, let me get to Robert out of Miami, Florida. Robert, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing, James? Everything good?
Yes, nice to hear from you. How about you?
Everything's going great, man. Everything's going great. So yeah, I just wanted to touch up on what you're saying, man. I mean, I don't know if you heard. There's this article or this actual story with this Mexican kid, right? He killed his mom's boyfriend. His mom's boyfriend was black. Okay, they put a post. There was a post on Facebook, and then this black guy called him a redneck Mexican for being a racist, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm just thinking in my head, right? Because you know how the media tries to make the minority seem unified when it's the complete opposite,
Right.
right? I just tell him, like, so he's racist. You know, Mexicans don't, Hispanics and blacks, not all of them, but they don't get along.
Right.
They really don't get along.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get along. And then, you know, we kind of had a back and forth, and I just told him, listen, black people are as racist as any, if not more, they're as racist as anybody else. And I live it on a day-to-day basis. The other thing I really wanted to touch up on that you're talking about is whether it's illegal or legal immigration. All right, if you keep bringing people here from any Hispanic country, I'm Hispanic, but I don't care, from anywhere, they're going to destroy this country and run it into the ground.
Yeah.
People don't want to be American, and they don't like white people. They just don't. They don't.
It's true. And they're, like, even despite their best intentions sometimes, they're just, because if you're evil, then you're going to bring the country towards evil. That's why Jesse calls everybody with anger a liberal. Like, he said, what's the difference, one time in church, he said, what's the difference between a liberal and a conservative? And people gave, like, the definition answers. But he said a person with anger is a liberal. And
a person with anger is a liberal.
And a person without anger is because
yeah.
then it breaks it down, because effectively you're on the side of liberalism if you have any corruption within you, because you're just taking down the country. And you're right.
Correct.
Like these people, they're. You look at all the Hispanic countries south of us; they were all taken over. It's a mixture of the native population, the Indians, and the Hispanics or Portuguese or whatever. They're already a mixed breed, and they don't have their own values. They have like a mock wannabe Catholic religion that's mixed with their own like pagan stuff, and it's not even real religion. Like people act like they're so family oriented, and like among the Hispanic immigrants, they have a higher out of wedlock birth rate, I believe, than the Hispanic natives. I could be wrong about that, but it's high. It's like it's close to 50%. And I think the natives is higher than 50%. So the native-born people in this country are so corrupt. We're having kids out of wedlock so much, or not me, but
yeah, they're having out of wedlock. And you know what it is? You know what I hear Jesse defend it all the time, and it's so messed up that he gets called. You know, listen, Hispanics and blacks are doing it more than white people. They always like to say, "Oh, but white people are doing it too." White people are very little in comparison. There's no comparison.
That's a good point. And you know what I was going to bring up? This was a national security crisis or national emergency crisis. Way back in the 60s, blacks had out of wedlock birth rate at like 30%. And that was, according to a Democrat, Moynihan, he made this report saying the black family is in a emergency, in a crisis. And he was called racist, stupid, stuff like that. But now the whites are at that crisis level. But it's not so much of a crisis anymore because blacks have been doing it for decades. And blacks are like twice as high as that, more than twice as high. They're in the 70s.
More than twice. I think it's like 70-something%.
Yeah, it's 72, 73%, 77 when you count just the native-born black mothers.
When you count just the native-born, I know. And you know, Jesse, like it's
James.
People. I just feel like I'm a little bit more in tune with it because I used to have a different life, and I dealt in the street a lot. I dealt with different groups of people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I know the truth. I know the kind of people we're dealing with, and I just think about how all these, they just want the illegals here, so in hopes that one day when a Democrat does take control, whether they take control of the Senate, the House, and the presidency, they want to be able to grant mass amnesty, and that's just going to change the way this country votes, period. And I don't think anybody that doesn't speak any English, somebody that can't pass a test on U.S. history,
right.
Whether you're American or not, you shouldn't even vote. You shouldn't even vote.
Yeah, I agree. And that guy, what's his name? Well, anyway, I appreciate your call, Robert. You're right. You're so right.
No, you're very welcome, James. Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right, take care. Are you going to be in church?
I'm gonna attend the church. I'm gonna watch today.
Right on. Appreciate it, Robert. Good to hear from you.
You're very welcome, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
He brought up, what was what did he just bring up? Oh, the English. Steve King, Congressman Steve King of Iowa, he worked to make English the state language for Iowa. And he was called racist for that, of course. But there's a resistance to making English the national language because they don't want any reason to inhibit illegal aliens or immigrants, period, from coming in and staying here and voting for Democrats like lemmings, basically. It's so ridiculous and wrong. And by the way, somebody asked what's RINOs. Little ugly dude 666 asked, what is a RINO? RINO is Republican in name only. Somebody who does not hold to the platform of country first, God, family, pro-life, stopping the illegals from coming in, all the things that the Republicans are supposed to be about, strong military, smaller government, whatever, all those things. Anybody who's not for that stuff but pretends to be a Republican, that's a RINO. And there are too many RINOs. Like basically all of the Republican Party is RINOs except for President Trump. In short, there may be some others who are decent. Steve King seems like an okay guy. But it's hard to tell because a lot of these people have been in office forever. People used to like Trey Gowdy, and people used to like Tim Scott because he sounded conservative and he's black. But Tim Scott goes into the race thing, RINO. And then Trey Gowdy talks tough when he's makes a show of yelling at Democrats and people that we hate for, in these congressional hearings or whatever he used to be. I don't know if he's still even in office anymore, but he didn't do anything. And all these people, they act so tough and then they do nothing. It's so phony. Little ugly dude 666, by the way, does say on YouTube, I'm mostly white, but I'm a little bit Mexican. I have a Mexican last name and I hate illegal Mexicans. I know, man. But we're not supposed to hate anymore. Anyways, make sure you check out Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, rebuildingtheman.com/church. Let me get to Maze. Yeah, let me get to Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. Oh, Maze.
Hello, Jack.
How are you doing? I just saw that.
That's fine. Well, tell Robert your name is not Jesse. He's not so smart. He's calling you Jesse.
Hey, whatever. It was a slip of the tongue.
And he had the nerve to sit up and talk and discuss somebody. Yeah, my brother
What's
lives
that nerve?
next door.
Wait, how is that nerve?
I just got a nerve.
I know you said he has nerve.
And somebody's supposed to believe what he's saying. But my brother used to live next door to a guy when I used to go visit.
Robert's a good guy.
He said he was a redneck. Excuse me?
Robert's a good guy. Anyway, what did you say about redneck?
I said my brother, when I used to go visit him, this Caucasian guy lived next door to him. He said he was a redneck. He called himself a redneck. I'm like, a redneck?
Yeah.
I said, that's not good to call yourself, but he was the nicest person.
Okay.
And he explained what a redneck was. He explained what a redneck was to me.
Okay.
And now I see those people that call themselves rednecks in a different light. See, if you're not learning from people and you're always complaining about people, you're considered to be dumb. And then you always want to do evil stuff in the name of good, you're dumb. I can care less about people calling me whatever they want to call me. And then you want to talk about the Hispanics who don't get along. You don't know nothing about the people that you're discussing because you probably can't tell me one that you spent some time with. Maybe you, but not Robert. Because some of them have been, and if you go into another country, how are you going to communicate with them when you can't speak their language, but you can go and visit, and you can't speak their language, so how are you going to communicate? And if they tell you those that never left America don't know anyway, so those are the complainers.
So anyways,
they've never been around people to understand where they're coming from.
What is a redneck?
Well, he said a redneck is a person that likes to drink his beer, and he loves to. He was just going through all of the things that rednecks, and why he calls himself a redneck.
Okay, and so like drinking beer is not necessarily a bad thing in your opinion. No,
not from what he explained to me, and he was a nice person.
Nice.
And he lived next door to my brother, and they had a good time together, and all this stuff. And y'all always talk about who hate who. We're looking at the media, and we're looking at the Democrats and the Republicans don't like each other.
Right.
And the Republican and Democrat live together and married to each other.
They pretend not to
like
each other. So I'm
not understanding what we see with our own eyes and what we are seeing with somebody just trying to indoctrinate enough to think. It's not working anymore. People are waking up, and they see the truth. So y'all can't make people hate this. You can't make people hate the Hispanics.
Do you agree it's a national emergency?
You can't make people hate the black people. Excuse me?
Do you agree it's a national emergency, this border situation?
What national? There's no emergency. Emergency on what?
Emergency on the...
Your president told you that there was no national emergency. He could have took his time and did it. So how is there a national emergency? You could take your time and do it slowly.
Well,
I don't get that.
I'm glad that he's doing it faster, maybe. Well, basically, like him doing this, they're going to stop him. The courts are...
But James, I have a question for you.
All right.
Now, if this was Obama, let's say if this was 45 doing this, 44 doing this,
44.
What would y'all be saying?
I would be
what would you be saying?
He wouldn't do it, so it's not reality. Come on.
No, I'm asking you. If he was doing all of these things that you see 45 doing,
I would know that it's fake. I would know that it's fake and it's show because I would know that it's a fake and it's show because everything about Obama was fake and all
real.
Show. Yes,
be real.
Real.
Y'all tried to create a crime on him and couldn't get one.
He gave so much lip service and pretended.
Ignore it.
I mean, he was so phony. He allowed all these people to come in. He stationed, hold on. He stationed the border agents 40 miles from the border. That makes sure the illegals are able to come in.
The illegals been coming in for how long?
Decades.
I'm quite sure somebody down your family tree came in here illegal. Thank you. And nobody had no... If Ronald Reagan tore down a wall, why y'all want to rebuild one on somebody else? That's what I don't understand.
Because that was a wall.
And Donald wanted to build one up.
Wasn't that a wall in the middle of the country? Or something like that? I don't know. The Berlin...
What?
Berlin Wall?
Yes, Berlin.
That's in the middle of a country. That's in the middle of a foreign country. That's not to protect. That's not to protect us from the illegals.
But what was that wall?
There are good and bad uses of walls, Maze.
That's what I'm saying.
Reasonable.
So y'all need to get y'all brains together and get rid of your bigotry that you got. I ain't gonna call it hatred. I'm gonna call it bigotry. Well, you don't understand other people besides yourself.
Bigotry means you can't handle other people's opinions. You can't handle a difference of opinion.
No, that doesn't what it means.
Yes,
but
it
you can't handle what's coming after you.
Go look it up.
You're gonna be. I'm gonna say what's coming your way. You got to prepare yourself for it, or you just be at the laws doing what we hear.
I know we got to prepare.
And you say the conservatives are doing.
Nice to hear from you.
And that's how it's gonna be now. Y'all need to wake up.
You gonna watch church?
Brain power. Wake up. Oh shit! I'm gonna listen. I can't watch church. You can't see nothing. I see it. Last week we did.
You watch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson at Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube?
Is something wrong with watching it?
No,
if you don't watch something and look at something for yourself, you can't repeat what somebody else.
All right, Maze, I
watch him too.
Your 5 minutes are
up. Yourself. Yeah, you have a good one. Okay, right, you have a good day.
Thank you. That's nice. Let me get to one more call, and then I'm gonna get to this crazy Jim Acosta. Noah, out of Los Angeles, California. How you doing?
Good, James. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I just wanted to bring something to your attention. It's not necessarily a question.
Right on.
You know how Colin Kaepernick and the Democrats are calling the NFL owners racist for not letting him play in the league?
Yeah.
He got offered a contract with a new football league called the AAF.
Okay.
And they offered him $400,000 a year to play. He turned it down because he said he needs $20 million to play.
I guess he's living above his means, isn't he?
It's less of a race issue and more of a he wants more money issue.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the other thing is, it's like a PR issue. Nobody wants to deal with a troublemaker player like that. How can you blame them? And people on both sides are kind of celebrating the demise of the NFL because the NFL the leadership is so weak and pathetic that they want to pretend like they're not racist and they want to play blah 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 blah, but they shouldn't even care about that stupid phony accusation and just stand on principle. But they don't have any principles. They're liberals.
Exactly.
So it's a total mess.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how he would say I'm not playing unless you give me $20 million. He's not even that good of a football player.
Yeah, and I heard. Yeah, This is what my theory is on what happened. I don't know. I don't have proof. I could be wrong. But I believe that he started out, he was pretty talented as a younger player. And then he got that girlfriend and women weaken the legs. And she's leading him. She's like how many years older than him? And
like seven or eight.
Yeah, she's like my age or maybe a little older. I'm 37 or so, and he's 31, 30 or something like that. And basically, like, she corrupted him both physically, mentally, spiritually, and because he was very corruptible. He didn't have, like, a good... And his adoptive parents are so weak, pathetic white people. Like, they're on his side, the woman is. And then his real mother had him with a black man who's not around anymore. I don't know what happened with him. And his real mother's not for what he's about, but she kind of messed up. And so now we have to deal with the mess.
Exactly. And it kind of plays into this whole empires guy.
And he's not really the problem. The problem is all the people that agree with him. Like, there is a big problem in the country. Even if there was no Colin Kaepernick, he's exposed how evil, like, a third of the country is, because it feels like a third of the country is with him. And it's so wrong. What were you about to say?
I was talking about how this is not the same, but it's pretty similar to the whole Empire star hiring his brothers to attack him.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to.
Oh, you think that's what happened? You think he hired those guys to attack him?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't see the story that
I hadn't heard that one.
It's a story that just came out yesterday that he might have hoaxed it. Like, that's actually a real story.
I did hear that there was speculation it may have been a hoax, even among the police department, that there was speculation. Last I heard, they didn't have any proof that it was a hoax, but they also had no proof that it even happened. Except he had some bruises.
Anything to call Trump supporters racist, they'll do.
Yeah, like another guy who called in said, Steven out of Delaware, these homosexuals, these radical homosexuals, they're dishonest people. And blacks too. Blacks are notorious for coming up with fake hate crimes. They paint the N-word on things, and so do homosexuals, by the way. Like this white homosexual, anti-Trump guy, after Trump was inaugurated or elected or something, he spray painted the N-word on his own church. He's like the organist or some worship, because he's one of those so-called gay Christians.
Fake
radical Christian. Homosexual Christian, really. Fake Christian, yeah.
Yeah.
And like he was caught, or else he finally like came forward and said, "Oh, I was me." These people, like fake so-called hate crimes, seem more prominent than the actual so-called incidents of whites or anybody else doing something out of and being so blatant about it. And whites tend to be a little bit more blatant than others, I think, because they're so frustrated at this stupid madness. Anyways, Noah, appreciate your call. Nice to hear from you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, take care.
You too.
Before I get to the calls, let me play these clips to Joel. This Jim Acosta, after Trump reamed him, like you saw at the beginning of this show, some of these, he calls them angel moms, meaning mothers whose sons or daughters, in some cases they're adult sons or daughters, but in some cases children, and fathers too have died. I mean, have suffered this, and families and all that, wives, husbands, grandchildren have suffered their grandparents being murdered. But Jim Acosta of CNN talks about these angel moms whose sons and daughters were killed by illegals coming up to him and saying, "This is real. Trump is right." So here he is, Jim Acosta of CNN, trying to clean up his mess that he created by trying to deny that illegal alien crime is a problem. Go for it.
But I'm standing in front of some of these angel moms who came to the Rose Garden today to, I guess, testify to what they've been through in terms of their ordeals dealing with crime in this country and the undocumented immigrants that were responsible for the crimes that took away their loved ones. And you saw that moment during the press conference there when the president pointed to some of these ladies here so they could say, yes, crimes happened to our family members, that those You know, I was just telling them that in terms of all of us here at CNN, our hearts go out to them. There is no attempt whatsoever to diminish what they've gone through or take away what they've gone through.
Exactly.
But as you heard in that question that I had with the president there, it was really about the facts and the data and this disconnect that we have when we hear the president talk about immigration.
Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me? Everybody, hello, hello, hello. We had to cut out and come back. I'm sorry about that, guys. Stay there, callers. I will be right back. Or I am back. Tell everybody to come over to the new stream. Some people may not realize it. So anyways, Jim Acosta was let's replay that part B. So I was just talking about I've talked about how Jim Acosta got reamed by President Trump, and then all these angel mothers came in and told Jim Acosta, no, you are fake news, in short. They may have said it more nicely. Our children have been killed by illegal aliens. And he said those are real crimes. He had to acknowledge that those are real crimes. So let's play part B, where Jim pretends that he's not downplaying the crime by illegals.
You know, I was just telling them that in terms of all of us here at CNN, our hearts go out to them. There is no attempt whatsoever to diminish what they've gone through or take away what they've gone through.
Exactly.
But as you heard in that question that I had with the president there, it was really about the facts and the data and this disconnect that we have when we hear the president talk about immigration. He tends to talk about it in ways that demonize immigrants and that just don't stick to the facts.
You believe in facts, but you believe in fake facts, Jim Acosta. You are fake news. And like I pointed out, look up Crime Prevention Research Center. It's crimeresearch.org from Dr. John R. Lott. He is an honest researcher, relatively. I think that he's the only one I can think of who knows that illegals commit more crime per capita than citizens. Duh! So let's go ahead and play the part C, where this man is talking like when one angel mom speaks, he has to allow one angel mother to speak.
Some of these folks came up to me right after this press conference was over, some of these very nice ladies here, and they're holding up these pictures of these loved ones who lost their lives. Ma'am, you were just telling me a few moments ago this happened to you as well.
Yes, I'm a legal immigrant. My family came to the right channels, and this is my only son, Ronald da Silva, who was murdered by a previously deported illegal alien. We need to secure our borders to protect American citizens. President Trump is completely correct on this issue. We need to protect this country.
Thank you, ma'am. Unlike this woman is more logical than Jim Acosta, who's just deceitful, deceptive, and promoting totally fake news. Like I said, he was lumping, like the media and so-called researchers like to lump in the legal immigrants with the illegal immigrants, and then they say, oh, illegal immigrants are committing less crime per capita than the real normal American citizens, which is fake news. They are committing more crime per capita than the Americans, but they're just lumping in them with the legal immigrants who, they better commit less crime because they're coming in trying to not get deported. So, children of the lie. Let's play that last bit where he's talking about facts and statistics.
There are so many passions and emotions on all sides. These ladies feel very passionate, feel very strong because of the ordeal they went through, that President Trump is on the right in this issue. And you have the facts that, and some Republicans will say this too, and the facts that are on the side of not calling it a national emergency on the border, that there's not an invasion on the border and so on. It just adds a lot of emotional energy to this issue.
Crazy. What a liar. He's the emotional one. He's fake. And intellectuals are emotional by definition. They're emotional because they retreat into their intellect and try to just snake their way and rationalize their sin. Hey, Daniel, type to me you know what? I may be able to read my super chats. I'm going to go to my creator studio. Yeah, type to me the super chats so I can find them easily. Let me go to callers. Jeff out of San Diego, California. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
This is Jeff.
Yep. How can I help you?
Years and years ago when I was a delivery person, I was getting received in like a retail store, and the regular person wasn't there, and it was a Hispanic lady. And I think she must have saying something in Spanish to me, and I came and gave her an attitude, said, I don't understand that crap or whatever. And she kind of laid it down to me, and had to be about 23 years ago. She basically said, we are coming over here, we're making babies, and we're taking over.
They are making babies like 90 going north. No.
I was going to say it, but I ain't quoting someone else's show for you.
Yeah, they are, dude. I've heard statistics, and I know that it's true, that they have more children out of wedlock, raw numbers, than blacks. Even though their out of wedlock birth rate is more like 56% or so, and blacks is like 77, they are having so many babies that the out of wedlock numbers are bigger. It's true. And and Muslims are doing the same thing, by the way. They're having a lot of babies. And we're getting taken over by people even more immoral than we are, and we're pretty immoral, and that's why it's happening, I think. But, man, yeah. Wow, so somebody came out and said that, huh?
This was a long time ago, too. She was a young gal, and she just basically broke it down for me. And the way she told it to me, this was not just something that she made up out of her mind.
Yeah.
This was some plan. This was a plan.
Yep.
This is probably how they...
I mean, you can just...
kind of rape and pillaging in a slow way.
Yeah, you just look at what's happening. It's because people are so nice that this is the way that it's happening. It's like a soft coup, long term. It's so wrong. And, like they were talking about, like I mentioned, how Rome fell partly because they lost track of what it meant. They lost the reality of what it meant to be Roman. Americans are losing what it means to be American. And there's even this stupid organization started by an illegal alien, radical homosexual man, and Jose Antonio Vargas, who came up with this. He worked for the Washington Post and New York Times, by the way, too. He came up with this organization called Define American. And he's a Filipino illegal alien. He's not a Mexican, but he has a Jose Antonio Vargas. But they are promoting total destruction. And by the way, a lot of Rome was the increase of homosexuality in Rome towards the end of its career was remarkable too, and that's happening in America. There's an increase in homosexuality and all that other corrupt stuff, and that's not to say that they're the only ones who are immoral. That's a sign of how immoral we are, to accept that one, first of all, for people to be embracing it, second of all, and it's a sign of how much out of wedlock sex is happening. And then because people are so immoral, they're like, oh, let's accept these immoral people too so we feel better. It's so wrong.
It's almost like every TV show has to have a gay
character
on
exactly.
It.
This stupid Jussie Smollett stuff.
It's part of that. It's got to make sure it's in your face at all times.
I was watching this Jussie Smollett thing where this actor is acting like he was a victim of a so-called hate crime. No such thing, and there's no such thing as a non-hate crime, really, unless it's a fake crime.
That seemed like a fake thing from the get-go.
Yeah, but he's being interviewed by these this homosexual lesbian, whatever her name is, from ABC News. He was a black lesbian, and they're just. And you look at CNN, it has Don Lemon, it has Anderson Cooper, and these people are... Anderson Cooper wasn't out as a homosexual for years, and now all of a sudden he's out and he's like celebrated. And people act like it's normal, but they're not. It's not right. Anyways, Jeff, it's nice to hear from you. San Diego, man. Right by the border.
San Diego. where we're teaching Mandarin, a special class now in public school. It's very prestigious.
Yeah,
I
getting
guess.
taken over by the Chinese. All right, Jeff, thank you.
I know what you mean, though, about the whole Anderson Cooper. I remember my grandma who's passed away. I used to tell her, Rosie's gay. And she'd, no, and, no, that can't be true. And now that, we all know.
Infiltrators.
Thank you for taking my call.
All right, thank you, sir. Good to hear from you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Mark out of L.A., California. How are you?
Hey, James, how are you?
Fine. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, man, I was, whenever I hear all this stuff, I just, like, I don't know what to think. When people say illegal aliens commit crime at a lower per capita rate than native-born Americans, I just sit there and like, think, like, 100% of illegal aliens have committed a crime.
Yeah.
How do you commit a higher crime rate per capita than 100%?
Right.
Like, how do you get to the point where you're saying, these, and like, they are not immigrants?
And
like, that word means something. That word means you're not able to be deported. It means you're here legally.
Right. And it's like, they don't tell the truth. I mean, that's not crossing the border illegally or overstaying their visa is not the only crime that they're committing. They're committing fraud. They're committing theft. The
major crime that they're committing that I'm referring to is they know they're here illegally.
Right.
And they're like, I don't care.
Yeah. And that corrupts your whole, that corrupts your whole outlook towards the law, towards America, because no matter how much you think that you love America, oh, I'm American, there's this Jose Vargas who has a Time magazine cover. We are Americans, we just don't have the right papers. Stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's like exactly what I was like calling about, because what you were saying earlier in the show, you were saying that like even if some people are like Hispanic and like a RINO, like you still don't even care about this country. Like there's one way to do it, and there's one way to do it only, and that's like you treat it as if this is your home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And anyone around the world in any country treats their home with respect, and they protect their home.
Yep.
And if someone wants to come in the right way and apply and be like, here's my name, here's my record, okay, fine, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Not all of you can come in. You know, we don't have an unlimited amount of people to bring in whatever Einstein's from Germany. Even if we had an unlimited, we don't have an unlimited amount.
Right.
And then we talk about immigration in terms of how are we going to benefit those who break the laws.
Yeah.
You know, those are the terms in which we discuss immigration and politics today in the United States.
Yeah.
10 years ago, Democrats were talking about a wall. 10 years ago, Democrats were talking about Medicaid and Medicare. And now it's the Republicans.
Yeah,
and
they're swinging us so left.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's so many like Democrats that like switched to Republican with Trump. All these people that voted for Obama, a lot of them voted for Trump.
Right.
Because they're actually just Americans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're actually like, no, what are you talking about? Why are you calling illegal aliens immigrants? They're not immigrants. My mom's an immigrant. You know what I mean? Like, like they came here, they waited, they paid. Like there's a certain type of mentality, a certain type of personality of people that like go through the front door and are willing to be told we're closed today.
Yep.
And they turn around and go home. There's other people that are like, no, I'm going.
That is so true. You are so right. There's a huge difference between legal immigrants, which we should have much fewer of anyways, maybe even pause it for a while, and illegal aliens that did not even try to, like, you're so right. And then this whole argument. Anyways, I'm about to change the subject. I appreciate the call, Mark.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Before I get to Stephen, I want to make the point. These people pretend they want border security. They don't want border security. And they argue against the wall, knowing that thousands of illegals are coming in every year, maybe tens of thousands, maybe more than that, are coming in. Hundreds are dying. And they pretend like it's not a problem because they change the subject to most illegal aliens here are on overstayed visas. But they don't care about overstayed visas either. 21 Savage was here on an overstayed visa, and they don't want him deported. Jay-Z and all of them, they're hiring lawyers to keep him in the country. They're not for enforcing the law, period. They're acting like, and really they're just changing the subject. 21 Savage is a rapper who was from like Atlanta, Georgia, but he's not really from Atlanta, Georgia. He's from the UK. He's a closet Brit, and he was arrested by ICE a couple weeks ago or so. And he's been prior convicted of drug crimes like back in like 2014 or so, and still wasn't deported. So ridiculous. Steven out of Delaware, how you doing?
Hey, James, how are you?
Fine. Nice to hear from you.
You as well. I just wanted to make a comment about the whole Jussie Smollett thing. About him staging the whole, that whole incident.
Yeah, that's the theory.
Right. Well, it's not even the theory. Like the more information that just came out about him hiring those two men.
I haven't seen that.
It
Okay.
was all staged.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been out for at least the last 24 hours. It came out that he paid those two men and they staged that whole attack. It's actually two Nigerian guys. If you look it up online.
Yeah, these Nigerian guys, they've been arrested. I saw on Friday. Didn't really look at the news yesterday. They were arrested on Friday. They had grown up in that apartment, by the way. And then the day of the attack, they flew out to Nigeria, and then when they came back, they were picked up at the airport by the cops, and their house had been ransacked by the cops, who found like bleach, although it's not remarkable to find bleach inside a house. But they found all kinds of stuff, I heard. And
they found rope, that part of that rope that was around his neck.
Wow.
Too. Yeah.
And those people knew him. One of them was had been an extra, and then another. Don't let me end the show before saying super chats. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, so see, the thing is that with this guy, with him staging this whole thing, it goes to show and it proves the point that the whole LGBT people are in a fallen state in terms of they will go to the point of even making up this crazy, absurd lie and waste taxpayer money investigating something that he knew was a lie.
The cops
he needs to go to jail immediately for this because that's not right what he did.
That's true. The cops should have just shrugged their shoulders and said, hey, "I'm sorry that happened to you," and then not investigated because it's so ridiculous. Nothing. Anyway, yeah, you're right, Stephen. That's true.
And then the thing with it is,
this is not the first time. This is not the first time that a homosexual or a black has committed has hoaxed a hate crime. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last time. But the issue with this guy is that it didn't make sense that they said this is MAGA country, but he's in the hospital with 2 scratches on your face. If a MAGA person is going to come and confront you and try to attack you, I guarantee you won't end up in the hospital with only 2 scratches on your face. Good point. Yeah, at first TMZ was saying that he had a broken rib, which wasn't true.
They hyped it up.
Yeah, ridiculous, man.
Yep.
Anyway, Steven, nice to hear from you. I appreciate it. You're going to catch church?
You too. Thanks, James.
All right. Bye. Let me read these super chats before we end. Scott MTHW, Scott Matthew, I guess. The Hake Report, thanks for uploading more episodes of church to iTunes. That's right. And he said, God bless you, Home Slice. Thank you. I haven't been called Home Slice in a while. We've been uploading Church with Jesse Lee Peterson prior episodes, 2017, even 2008 services, both to YouTube and to iTunes. Tune in, Spreaker, Stitcher. You can podcast old episodes. You're going to have to scroll all the way down to the bottom because they're from 2008 and also 2017 and stuff. And going to get into the 2016s as well. So check those out. F the Chant says, have a black coffee on me, and gave me a nice Canadian super chat. God bless you and your crew, even Joel. And Cordell Mosley, thank you, sir. Thanks for all you're doing, James and crew. Giovanni A, love the shirt. Hake Report, I like this shirt too. I've worn it a number of times. And he says, amazing. Joel Friday, he black, LOL. God bless you all, fams. Keep America great, make America great again, 2020. Smitty 2000, happy anniversary, Bond. Thank you, James And Jesse Lee Peterson, God bless. Adrian Dotson, great job, Hake. Let me give Mark from Indiana, first-time caller, 30 seconds before we end.
Hey.
Hey, how are you doing?
James, great to be on the show.
Yeah, great to have you. What's up?
Yeah, man. So I called in about one thing, and I remembered something I heard. I was watching a documentary last night, and I don't know if you guys have covered this before, but it is really funny. I learned that in the Quran and Muslims' religion, that it says in the Quran that Satan is black. That Satan's a black guy.
His soul is black. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, no. I found that because it was a short little 7-minute documentary. You know how there's some of those.
Yeah.
And the guy was really serious. Saying he was quoting from the Quran. He said that Satan has
those Muslims, man,
and wild hair and.
That's a mess. That's a total mess. Those Muslims are a mess. They need to become Christians. Thank you, Mark. I gotta go. Appreciate your call. Shout out to Periscope. Thank you for joining Periscope and stream.me/The Hake Report and facebook.com/The Hake Report. Like me on Facebook. And of course, YouTube. See you guys at church. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Bond Rebuilding the Man, YouTube and Facebook. Take care.